Hey folks, welcome back to the channel Relationship Anthology. My name is John, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day or evening wherever you are. Today's story is an update to the story that was uploaded on the channel a few days ago about OP finding out his wife had an affair with her gym coach. A lot of you were questioning an update on the story. Well, now we have one available. Let's get into today's update story to find out what happened.
Hi again. I didn't expect to update so soon, but something important has happened. I'd like to share something that my therapist told me. Do you remember I started therapy because Jane suggested I was having trust issues? Turns out, I don't have any. I'm one step away from becoming a very gullible person. But the therapist noticed that I have a lot of insecurities due to my obesity. For as long as I can remember, I was always the chubby, nerdy guy at school, never a boyfriend, always a best friend. I had my first girlfriend at 18. And she dumped me a week later for a better-looking guy. I went to an engineering high school, so the ladies were few. My next relationship was in my 20s with a very toxic girl who blamed me for everything, even for the rain. She really did a number on me, making me feel guilty for anything that popped into her mind. Later, I started working because my family had money problems, and I didn't have another relationship until I met Jane at the university. At the previous session, the therapist and I discussed my feelings about not having kids. She has helped me to get my priorities in order. Number 1, me and everything that covers myself, like physical health, intelligence, and soul. Number 2, people who live with me, Jane. Number 3, family and friends. Number 4, work. Number 5, leisure and entertainment. The last session was about Jane. The therapist asked about my plans, and I told her I would divorce Jane. She told me it was normal that I was in such distress because my priority number 2 was crumbling. I would have to pass through stages similar to those of grieving death, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I had to Google them because I forgot them. I'm in the bargaining stage because I'm thinking a lot of what ifs. For example, what if she really is remorseful? What if we're the golden couple who will survive infidelity? But the reality is that I will never trust her ever again. It would kill me knowing she was at home alone, doing God knows what, while I was at work. Torture for me. Depression is a dangerous stage in my case because it can lead me to gain weight again. I need to stick to the gym and closely watch my diet. Hope this information helps people who are grieving. Now, the update. I've been very busy. I applied for a promotion at my job that I could have taken a long time ago but demanded lots of traveling. Now, I feel like being away will help me heal. Also, I've been looking for a new place to live, and I found one small apartment that is perfect for me. I've already paid 3 months of rent in advance. I'll move as soon as possible. I haven't seen Jane since Discovery Day or Baldy since that Monday when I'm sure he was fired. On the bright side, one of my neighbors, a lady in her 50s, met me in the condo's elevator. She told me she hadn't seen Jane lately. I told her we were splitting, and then she happened to remember that she was hosting a dinner. She told me that her single niece was coming for a few days, and that I was invited. It took me by surprise. Looks like I'm on the market again. My attorney told me Jane was going to be served last Friday, but we had some festivities in my country, so she was served last Sunday morning at my in-laws' home. The following Monday, somebody, Jane, I guess, slid a letter under my door. 3 sheets, back and front, from Jane, mainly explaining what led her to cheat. Here, I'll introduce the second villainess in the story, a co-worker we'll call Flirty. I had met her a few times at Jane's work events like Christmas or anniversary celebrations. She's really thin, almost skinny, and usually wears a lot of makeup. She also thinks that every man wants to sleep with her. One time, she told Jane I was staring at her. I did once because I could see her ribs and I thought she was unhealthily thin. Anyway, according to Jane's letter, when she lost weight, Flirty approached her because she wanted them to be best friends since they were the two hottest at work. That was when the brainwashing started. Flirty made her think she deserved a better man, that she was entitled to one. She told her I was a pathetic man that would try to own her now that she was hot. When the incident with the Smith machine happened, Flirty said to Jane, "See, didn't I tell you he wants to be your owner more than your husband?" Jane bought it, and due to Flirty's manipulation, she was resentful of me for months. When we attended the gym at different times, Jane met Baldy accidentally at the mall. When he approached her, she confessed that she had a crush on a guy similar to Baldy before I met her. She had never told me that before. They went for a bite, and they both flirted. Jane showed Flirty Baldy's picture from Facebook, and she told her she would be dumb if she didn't have sex with him. Besides, her pathetic husband, me, didn't even compare to that Greek god. She had the opportunity, and she was eager to, so she did. Baldy took her to his house that coincidentally was close to the mall where they ran into each other. So, she doesn't know that's Frank's dad's home. All this happened 9 months ago. Flirty is a professional cheater. She told Jane how to cover her tracks, the works code to hide Baldy's contact, and to hide her map tracking history. She even told her that changing her phone password would be stupid because I would immediately suspect. Jane noticed Baldy hated it when she talked about me, and as punishment, he gave her hickeys. Now I remember she started wearing pajamas to bed because it was cold. He used to trash me, but she never played along. Meanwhile, Flirty used to tell her that she was entitled to this romance and that I deserved being cheated on because I was a beta. During those months, she said she liked the feeling of danger, the thrill, and sex with Baldy was good. But it also hurt her seeing me struggle, trying to be a better husband, and knowing she was the reason for my pain. It was easier to ignore me and continue with the pleasure Baldy gave her. Discovery Day arrived. I completely blindsided her. She thought I was clueless. I'm going to write this part just like she wrote it. I was in shock, and I covered myself with the blanket by pure instinct. When I reacted, I saw you pushing and kicking Baldy out of the room and the house. When I heard you closing the door and coming back, I didn't know what to say. I had never seen you that angry before. Then you said, I have never hurt you, nor will I. That was true. In the years we've known each other, you have never hurt me, not even when we found out that it was my fault that we couldn't have children. After that, she heard me crying in the spare room. She wanted to comfort me, but how could she? On the main door, we had a mirror to check ourselves before going out. She looked at it herself, but she couldn't bear the sight. When she entered her car, she cried and asked herself, what have I done? Baldy called her that night, but she blocked him. She arrived at the sister-in-law's house at about midnight, 2 hours after the drama. Her house is around 40 minutes from mine. She was scared of telling the sister-in-law what happened because she was older and she had a very strong character. The next day, she told Flirty what had happened. Flirty told her she should be happy that she got rid of me. I'm going to copy this part too. The back and forth comments between Jane and Flirty. Jane, and then what? Flirty responds, babe, you're free. You can have sex with Baldy or any guy you want. Jane, and then what? Flirty, I don't follow you. What will happen when I'm tired of having sex with a bunch of guys? Jane, then you can decide which one to date. Flirty, seriously. And then what? Jane, I don't know, get married, I suppose. Flirty, but I already had a marriage. But it was with OP, he's a loser. I bet Baldy is 100 times better than him. Jane responds, no, that's not true. He gave me a good life. Flirty follows up with, don't settle for so little. You can have a better man. Then, they proceeded to have a big fight in front of their co-workers. She couldn't recall it well, but she remembered swearing and yelling at her. Flirty told her that any guy hotter than me is better than me. I don't get what she has against me, but Jane realized what she had destroyed. She was inconsolable, and her boss let her go home early. The next day was when I showed the sister-in-law the video. Jane was babysitting the sister-in-law's twins after I drove her home. The sister-in-law asked Jane to help her run some errands, just the two of them. That was a lie. They parked at a park, and she demanded to know what had happened in her head that led her to cheat on me. Jane cried and told her, I don't know. The sister-in-law confessed that she was envious of our marriage. 11 years and not a single huge fight. We both looked happy. She couldn't believe her little sister was capable of such a thing. Jane was there for the sister-in-law when her ex-husband left her for another woman. Jane asked her not to kick her out, and the sister-in-law told her she could stay. After all, that house belonged to both of them. But she let her know that she was very disappointed and that she would side with me if I ever needed her help. Jane understood. Next Sunday, Jane came to apologize, but I wasn't home. When she received my attorney's card, she called, and my attorney confirmed I hired him. She knew I was really going to divorce her, so she went to her new home and wrote a confession and sent it to everybody we both know. I started receiving messages and phone calls the following week, but I didn't want to read or answer. Now I've read some of the DMs, and it is what she said. Most of them want to comfort me. One of her cousins said it took guts to confess, so I should give her a try. The following week, she tried to distract herself with work, but it seems everybody knows she cheated. In my country, if you're unfaithful, people see you as an easy woman. So female co-workers stopped talking to her, particularly Flirty, and male co-workers were annoyingly friendly to her. She asked to be relocated, but it would have taken months, so she quit her job the following Friday. She has a good amount of savings. We had our finances separated, and since I was the big earner, I paid for almost everything. The next day, she came looking for me. in her words, to beg me to take her back. She came to my place, but when she saw I wasn't home, she went to my parents. My dad refused to speak to her, but my mom was sympathetic and told her that she was sorry about everything but that her son was really hurt and asked them not to talk about her anymore. Jane understood but then went to my brothers. He told her, OP is not here, and frankly, I don't want to talk to you, and closed the door in her face. She came back to her new house very sad. All last week, she had been reflecting on her actions, and she had been really depressed, realizing how much damage she had done to our relationship, to her family, and to mine, all for meaningless pleasure coming from a douchebag that, in her words, believes vaccines are just a pharmacy scam and believes in astrology. Yeah, Baldy is heavily tattooed. He has a Taurus sign on his arm. The sister-in-law suggested she go to therapy. I don't blame her. If my brother were in the same situation, I'd be very disappointed, but I'd try to make him realize what was wrong with him. She finally went to therapy, and her therapist suggested writing me this letter to come clean to me. So she said that everything that was written in the letter was true. She swore on her life that if I took her back, there would be no spouse in the history of humanity more grateful, loyal, and honest than her. She suggested total access to our social media, which I already had. She said she would always answer my calls no matter the situation and that she would never have friends that I didn't approve of. There are more things about family and friends that I don't think are important to share. Besides, it would need a lot of context. Finally, she pleaded to meet with me and to let her apologize properly to my face. In her words, sorry doesn't start to describe what I'm feeling right now. What do I think of this letter? The things I can confirm are that she hasn't contacted Baldy since that Monday when he was fired and that she confessed to family and friends. The rest could be partially true. Also, I'm sure it's been sugar-coated. For example, she didn't mention that she called me jealous and immature. She didn't mention letting Baldy have unprotected sex with her. She could give me all of her passwords, but she lied to my face and gaslighted me for 9 months, according to her, and she was very good at it. Besides, I don't want to be her jailer. As I said, I will never trust her ever again. Whenever I see her face, I'll also see Baldy's face in front of her. I will not be her second option, nor will I be a doormat. I haven't replied yet, but I think I'll see her next weekend.
OP, here are my thoughts on the situation. You know what you need to do. She cheated on you for almost a year, and it took her being caught to realize how awful it was. Continue with your divorce. It sucks, but you'll find someone who wants to be with you wholeheartedly. She's trying to place all the blame on Baldy, which means she has no remorse for her actions. She knew she had no future with Baldy when she started sleeping with him. You were always her future, her security. She knew it would have to end someday, but she did everything in her power to make the affair last as long as possible. She lied to you, accused you of being an evil and flawed person, and made you get unnecessary expensive time-consuming therapy so she could have another window to please Baldy. Thank you for your update, OP. I wish you the best and hope you are able to make the right choices to heal from this situation. Thanks for taking the time to listen to today's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and comment below on what your thoughts are on today's story. Take care, everyone.